Hey there, folks. Have you ever caught yourself wondering why some days you just don't have the get up and go you used to? Maybe you're over 60, like me, and you've noticed that energy slipping away a little faster than it did back in the day. If that sounds like you, stick around, because today, we're diving into something pretty special. We're unveiling 5 life-changing senior health tips that can turn things around for you, starting right now. These aren't fancy tricks or expensive gadgets, they're simple, practical ideas straight from the wisdom of folks who've learned how to keep thriving as they age. You see, staying healthy after 60 isn't about trying to rewind the clock or pretending we're still sprinting through our 30s. It's about feeling good, staying sharp, and enjoying the little moments, like a walk in the sunshine or a good laugh with a friend. I've seen so many people figure out ways to make their days brighter, and I'm excited to share these tips with you. In this video, we're going to walk through 5 easy changes that can lift your spirits, boost your energy, and keep you feeling your best. Let's get started with something we all deal with every day, those mornings that set the tone for everything else. You know how mornings can feel like a fresh start, but sometimes they're more of a stumble out of bed. One little tweak can change that, and it's all about what you eat to kick things off. If you're like a lot of us, you might reach for a piece of toast or a bowl of cereal, quick and easy, right? But here's the thing, as we get older, all those carbs can spike your energy and then drop it like a rock. Instead, try swapping that out for something with protein. A couple of scrambled eggs, a spoonful of Greek yogurt, or even a handful of almonds can make a big difference. It keeps you steady, no more crashing before lunch. My pal Janet, who's 65, used to swear by her morning bagel, but she'd be yawning by 10. She switched to a little yogurt with some berries, and now she's got energy to spare all morning. It's such a small change, but it's like giving your body a steady fuel tank instead of a sugar roller coaster. Now, speaking of fueling up, let's talk about something you can add to that breakfast, or any time of day. Really, that's a game changer for your mind. Have you ever thought about popping a few blueberries into your routine? These little berries are like superheroes for your brain. They're loaded with stuff that fights off the wear and tear of time, antioxidants, if you want the fancy word, and they can help keep your memory sharp. Toss them on your yogurt, blend them into a smoothie, or just eat them straight from the bowl. My buddy Frank, who's 70, started doing this after he kept forgetting where he parked his truck. He told me the other day he's not only finding his keys faster, but he's also beating his grandson at card games again. It's an easy way to keep your brain firing on all cylinders, and it tastes good too. And while we're on the topic of keeping things running smooth, let's think about how we move. I know a lot of us love a good walk. It's free, it gets us out in the fresh air, and it's a habit we've had forever. But after 60, pounding the pavement every day can start to wear on our joints a bit. That's where something like stretching comes in. It's gentle, it's kind to your body, and it keeps you limber. You don't need a gym or fancy gear, just a few minutes in your living room can do the trick. Think about stretching your arms up high, loosening up your back, or even just rolling your shoulders. My neighbor Ellen, who's 73, started doing this every morning after her coffee. She used to groan every time she stood up from her chair, but now she's moving around like she's got a new spring in her step. It's a soft way to wake your body up without pushing it too hard. So, we've got a protein-packed start to your day, a handful of blueberries to keep your mind buzzing, and some gentle stretching to loosen you up. These little tweaks are already building something pretty great, more energy, a clearer head, and a body that feels ready to go. But there's more to staying healthy than just mornings and movement. We've got a couple more tips up our sleeve that tie right into this, like how you recharge at night and keep your spirit lifted through the day. So we've been chatting about how a protein-packed breakfast, a handful of blueberries, and some gentle stretching can set you up for a better day. Pretty simple stuff, right? It's amazing how these little habits start to weave together, giving you more pep in your step and a sharper mind to boot. But staying healthy after 60 isn't just about how you kick things off in the morning or loosen up your joints. It's also about how you wind down at the end of the day, and that's where our next tip comes in. Let's talk about something we all crave, but don't always get enough of: sleep. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Sleep's tricky sometimes, especially as we get older. Maybe you're waking up in the middle of the night, or it takes forever to drift off because your mind's racing about tomorrow's grocery list. But here's a little secret that's worked wonders for so many folks: setting a bedtime routine. It's not about being strict like a kid with a curfew. It's more like giving your body a gentle signal that it's time to rest. Try picking a time, say 10 or 10:30, and sticking to it most nights. Maybe brew a cup of herbal tea, dim the lights, or read a few pages of a book. Nothing too thrilling, just something to ease you into it. My friend Bob, who's 69, used to stay up late watching TV, flipping channels until midnight. He'd wake up groggy and grumpy every morning. But he started turning off the screen an hour earlier, sipping some chamomile tea, and now he's sleeping like a log. He told me he feels like he's got a whole new day to enjoy instead of dragging through it. It's a small habit that can recharge you in ways you didn't expect. And while we're on the topic of feeling refreshed, let's shift gears a bit and talk about keeping your spirit lifted. You know how some days can feel heavy, like the world's piling up on your shoulders? That's where our next tip comes in, and it's one of my favorites because it's so simple and fun. It's all about staying connected with the people who light you up. After 60, it's easy to let those phone calls or coffee dates slip. Maybe you're busy with grandkids, or you figure folks are too tied up to chat. But reaching out, even just for a quick hello, can do wonders for your heart and soul. It doesn't have to be a big production. Send a text, call a friend for 5 minutes, or invite someone over for a cup of tea. My cousin Ruth, who's 71, used to spend most of her days alone after her husband passed. She'd tell me she felt like she was fading into the background. But then she started calling her old school pal once a week, just to catch up and laugh about the silly things they used to do. She says those chats make her feel alive again, like she's part of something bigger. It's not about having a packed social calendar, it's about those little moments that remind you you're not alone. These two tips, getting your sleep on track and staying connected, fit so nicely with what we've already been talking about. That steady breakfast and those blueberries keep your body and brain humming, the stretching keeps you moving easy, and now you're resting better and feeling more tied to the people around you. It's like building a little bridge between how you feel inside and the world outside. Bob's sleeping deeper, Ruth's laughing more, and it all comes from these small, doable steps. But we're not quite done yet. There's one more piece to this puzzle that's going to pull everything together and leave you feeling stronger than ever. So we've been building this little toolbox of tricks, starting your day with protein and blueberries, stretching out those morning kinks, getting your sleep dialed in, and keeping connected with the folks who matter. It's pretty neat how these pieces fit together, isn't it? Like each one's adding a bit more spark to your day. And now we're at the last tip, one that's so simple it almost feels like a gift you give yourself. It's all about finding a moment every day to soak in a little gratitude. I know that might sound soft and fuzzy, but stick with me here, because it's a real game changer. You've probably had days where everything feels like it's piling up, the dishwasher's leaking, the grandkids are loud, or maybe your back's acting up again. It's easy to get stuck in that rut. But taking just a minute or two to think about something good, like a sunny afternoon, a kind word from a neighbor, or even just the fact that you woke up today, can shift your whole outlook. You don't need a journal or anything fancy, just pause and let it sink in. My old friend Clara, who's 74, started doing this after a rough patch with her health. She'd sit on her porch every evening, sip her tea, and think about one thing that went right that day. Maybe her roses bloomed or her daughter called. She told me it's like flipping a switch in her head. Suddenly, the tough stuff doesn't weigh her down as much. It's a quiet little habit that keeps your spirit strong, and it costs nothing at all. Now, as we've been chatting through these 5 tips, it's kind of amazing how they all play off each other. That protein in the morning keeps your energy humming so you're not crashing before lunch. Those blueberries give your brain a boost so you're sharp for the day's challenges. And stretching keeps your body loose so you can move without a fuss. Then, winding down with a solid sleep routine recharges you overnight, and staying connected with friends lifts your mood in ways you can feel deep down. Top it all off with a moment of gratitude, and you've got this beautiful mix of habits that make you feel alive, not just getting by, but really thriving. I've seen it in folks like Janet, who's buzzing through her mornings now, and Frank, who's outsmarting his grandson at cards. Even Ruth's laughing more these days, and Clara's found her peace on that porch. These aren't big, overwhelming changes, they're small steps that stack up to something powerful. And the best part? You can start any of these today, right where you are. You don't need to be perfect or do them all at once, just pick one and give it a try. Maybe tomorrow you scramble an egg instead of grabbing toast, or you take a second to stretch before your coffee. Little by little, these habits become part of your routine, and they start working their magic. I've watched friends turn their days around with stuff like this, and I know you can too. It's not about fixing everything overnight, it's about giving yourself a chance to feel better, one easy move at a time. So, what do you think? Have any of these tips sparked an idea for you, or maybe you've got a trick of your own that keeps you going strong? I'd love to hear about it. Drop it in the comments below and let's swap some stories. If you've enjoyed this chat and think it might help someone else, give the video a quick thumbs up. It's a small way to spread the word. And if you want more ideas like these to keep thriving after 60, hit that subscribe button. We're here to share all the good stuff that makes these years some of the best yet. At the end of the day, staying healthy and happy after 60 is all about what works for you, finding those little wins that light you up inside. These 5 tips are like a roadmap from folks who've been there, showing you it's never too late to feel great. So take what you like, tweak it to fit your life, and run with it. You've got so much wisdom and strength already, let's keep it shining bright. Here's to living your best days, full of energy, joy, and all the good things you deserve, starting right now.